Feminism, despite of being interpreted in various forms, is generally accepting and recognizing equal human violence between women and men. From feminist perspective, peace is mostly understood as positive peace. Most tend to hold the notion of peace generally described as conditions of social justice, economic equality, and ecological balance. Such conditions would be more truly peaceful because they would be more life-affirming and less likely to produce the types of conflicts which led to armed violence and war. So feminism tends to see the peace as a condition of social justice and equality, which is also equality between men and women, and a foundation for equality among all people, and an end, for example, for racism as well as sexism, and a condition in which the universal principles of human rights is accepted and applied on worldwide basis. So, women's role in the conflict vary as armed conflicts are usually changing and have several phases. There are usually three phases of conflict: before, during, and after. So, depending on the status, setting, and the dimension of the conflict, in each phase, women have capacity to take different actions and roles. And peacemaking process in itself is usually multidimensional and complex as well. So, firstly, in the pre-conflict phase, latent and structural causes of conflicts already exist. These causes and impacts can be the lack of participation in political life, suppression, discrimination, and exclusion of all kinds of violence, human rights, little access for land and resources, and absence of security and militarism. So, according to Austrian development agencies focused on women, gender, and conflict, women can encourage societies and political groups to take early preventive actions and measures by taking several steps. First one, by strengthening and promoting activities, local women's organizations and initiatives by supporting the formation of networks like Peace Allies, women can promote cooperation and trust. Secondly, by strengthening women, they can work actively on the ground and by undertaking measures to prevent exclusion and discrimination, and can draw attention to other preventive measures through peacebuilding awarenesses. The third one is, through their various individual contacts and observations, women can be important informants to provide early warning of conflict potentials. And fourth one is, by encouraging advanced training in public life and by providing access to knowledge on women issues and women's rights, women can play an important role in local politics and governance, and also in conflict prevention. The fifth one is, through their improved economic status, women can free their families from poverty and with their larger say make a contribution to the prevention of militarism and radicalization. So when the armed conflict is happening, it's mostly men who is fighting, and women in many cultures have a role to take care of everything else. The ongoing conflict processes is extremely devastating as insecurity raises, risk of sexual violence against women increases, and in addition to women are being comforted by the death of their family members. So the proactive role of women to ensure survival and settlement of conflict could not be more challenging. Women take the responsibility and straight of keeping the family together during the non-armed conflict. As female heads of households, they often face great difficulties in majority of patriarchal societies. So during armed conflicts, these are what women can do to ensure safety and peace. The first one is, local women's peacekeeping organizations can set up their role as negotiators and mediators between the warring parties and encourage dialogue between them. The second one is, in refugee camps, women have responsibility for avoiding existential hardships, for instance, fair food distributions or allowance for the special needs of women and girls. The third one is, through the targeted actions, consciousness raising and trainings in the fields of peace building and human rights. In the camps, women can raise awareness of those affected and encourage them to demand their rights. In post-conflict setting, which is the last phase of conflicts, women play a particularly important role, both during the peace processes and also in the rehabilitation, reintegration and resettlement phase. Peacebuilding and conflict prevention are essential processes before and after conflicts. Therefore, women in post-conflict settings must be actively involved in all stages of conflicts. So in this process, women can play a significant role in decision-making functions throughout their full participation in conflict settlement and peace processes. Women can also act in the face as negotiators and mediators to encourage dialogues between the parties. What else they can do? By highlighting the needs of women in the demobilization and reconstruction phase, women's groups and networks can make an important contribution to sustainable peace process. And the third one, females, ex-combatants and survivors and displaced women can speak up about their stories and experiences. The fourth one, the support of women by other women in psychosocial care, trauma management and reintegration of widows and combatants may help to prevent social and economic isolation. And the fifth one is during the return or resettlement of IDPs and refugees, women affected can be given support in the choice of settlement by activists and women groups. And the sixth one is during the reconstruction of the justice and administrative systems, qualified women can help in formulation of laws and regulations to ensure that gender equality in public life and fair access to economic resources, land and property rights have happened. The seventh one is particular attention must be paid to decisions regarding compensations for sufferings caused by violence. So summarizing all these actions, it's necessary to understand that empowerment and participation of women in all stages of conflict has potential to affect gender relations and influence the change in sexist cultural norms and practices and finally achieve positive peace. Thank you very much.